Okay, right, we're about to start the assembly build of this little unit here. And the first thing we're going to do, we've found the starting point for the left-hand stanchion, which obviously this will go off where it's going in your room. And the first thing we're going to do is fit that stanchion to the wall. We're going to fix it with one screw. Obviously, when you come to do it permanently, you'll use all four and get a good fix on there. So I've marked a little hole here where I'm going to drill. We've got the stanchion here. We're doing it with the screws pointing inwards. So looking at the drawing there, we've got left-hand stanchion, grub screws pointing inwards, right-hand stanchion also pointing inwards, and we'll mirror that on this right-hand side as well. So I've sat this on the floor, it's at the right height. We've already cut some spaces for the shelves, and we've used those to mark it. We'll send these spaces with it, and they'll be a help for you when you do your install. So I've marked that, and I'm going to.
So how does the spacer work, Gary? Does that go to the underside of the shelf?
Yeah. Basically, the shelf will sit on that spacer. So it's set at the height of these fittings here, which are going to support the shelf. You may want to do it, put it there, sit the shelf on it, and then just move the spacers up to meet it. Those coach bolts about that.
So generally, when we're going into masonry, we like to use raw plugs and coach screws and washers. We don't supply wall fittings unless we're doing the assembly ourselves. Wouldn't be responsible without having seen the wall with our own eyes. So your installer will know what to use.
Yeah, got it,
So what do you do now, Gary? Just checking it's all
fix it to
straight.
the wall, and I'm going to make sure that stanchion is vertical. Which it is. And you may want to floor mount as well. We're just going to go into the wall for now for the purposes of this demonstration, but you may want to screw the flanges to the floor as well.
There's no real need to, though.
It shouldn't be, because all the weight will be going down.
So have you just put that roughly in the right place, Gary?
Yeah, well, I'm going to put it through the whole of this, which will determine where it's going to go.
So that's the bottom shelf.
So the first shelf is going on.
you're just checking that that's level, vertical.
Checking the right hand stanchion is vertical as we did with the left one. And then I'm going to fix that to the wall as well.
And what's Matt doing over here? Tweaking what?
Yeah, it's just lining up the support with the fittings so we get a nice level shelf.
So although we're going to send those fittings sort of pre-built, they can just, depending, if you put the shelf on, for example, upside down, the curvature of the wood might be slightly different, so you just want to nip things up to meet.
Yeah, because obviously, even if you were to set those stanchions at all the same height, you may find your floor runs upwards a little or downwards a little, so you've got the facility there by moving those stanchions to make up for that.
And our floor certainly isn't level here. Most floors aren't, surprisingly. Again, Gary's just going to do the one fixing for the purpose of this video. You would do 4 or 2 or however many you wanted. Sometimes, if you are going into masonry, especially if it's exposed masonry, you can see what you're doing. It's not a great idea maybe to actually screw 4 holes into a brick. So close together, because it could actually weaken the brick with having so many holes. So sometimes if we're actually installing, we might use 50mm or 75mm coach screws in 1 or 2 of the holes, and then just shorter ones like 25mm just for show in the other holes, because certainly 2 fixings would be plenty for the security of it. So yeah, just getting that leg nice and vertical before attaching it to the wall. Impact drivers, they're called, and they're very good, but an electric screwdriver is also good, or an electric nut driver, I suppose it would be a socket driver. Excuse me.
Okay, so we've moved over to the right hand stanchion and we're going to replicate what we did on the left hand side there. We've levelled it up, make sure it's nice and vertical, and then we're going to screw to the wall. You're cutting there, Carl, we're ready to bring the big, long, curvy shelf in. What we're going to do first is put these little supports on at the 2 left-hand stanchions. And then we're ready to move those into place once we bring the shelf in.
And they've got the grub screws facing inwards.
Well, yeah, they're same as the stanchions that they're sitting on. Grub screws are facing inwards on our walls. Okay. We're bringing over the big long shelf now. That's what past all the stanchions. You want to put these spaces underneath this end now.
So what number spacer is that?
750.
760.
I've marked those spaces on the drawing and we'll send you a copy of that. It won't be on the drawing you've got at the moment, but we'll send you a copy of that with the piece.
So that's making contact when it's nice and vertical.
Sat on that, that's a good support. So could you level that end on that then and move the spaces up so it's supporting there?
So the fact that this is one long plank and it's being supported by these two spaces here means it's in the right position here. So Matt is just going to lift the supporting arms up to meet the shelf above and triple check it's straight. And then tighten the grub screws so that they bite to the pipe and stay put. And obviously you need to make sure it's pointing straight back at 90 degrees. And this is the desk support.
So we're putting the stanchions underneath here. Those spaces actually, although they were cut to the right height, it turned out they're a little bit short for where we needed to be. The simple reason is this floor is running out. So hopefully your floor will be more level, otherwise you'll have to make whatever adjustments you need to make to suit that. So we've got these two stanchions in place. We're going to level those up just like you did at the other side, mark the holes and drill them. I think we need to show that card to you because we did it at the other end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we'll come back to you in a sec.
Okay, now we've got this all in place. There's two extra fittings I've got on top just to secure it. So we're going to just fix those in place with the grub screws. Mark it, screw to the wall. Matt's done the same at the other side, and then that's all fixed in place.
Okay, what's next?
Are you still filming?
Yep.
Right, next thing we're going to do is start building up the right hand side for the shelves so I'm going to build this sub-assembly. We've got a fitting in between the two shelves.
With the grub screws pointing into the centre.
Yeah, the grub screws into the centre again. And what we're going to do is mount this other fitting 762 from the bottom of the pipe.
That's that spacer. We're going to actually mark that.
Sending you those spacers with it. They'll be all marked up so you know what's what. The reason it's 762 is the gap from the shelf over there to this one is 700, but then we need 62mm stuck out to make the joint.
So that spacer there is to the top of that T, to the bottom of that pipe. Is that right?
That's right.
Cool.
Matt's going to do the same on the other end.
So his grub screws point into the middle, and there's the other bit in there.
There's a 762 spacer. There's an Allen key. We're not worrying about the height of this shelf at the moment. We're just going to put it on as it is, and then we'll do the adjustments on that once it's all on.
And you're just tightening one grub screw in the, for the time being.
Just going to tighten one grub screw, and then we can make any adjustments that we might have to do later on to allow for level floors or anything like that. So we're ready to fit the next shelf, pass the pipes through. We've also got a fitting in between, once again with the grub screws pointing the right way. And the spacing for this one is 375. So we'll just move that up to there. Put yours up to 375 as well. And push the fitting up. Snip it up in place.
It's just a slightly different type of Allen key that I've got there.
What we're going to do now, we're going to take this little sub-assembly, we're going to take it over to the wall where the other unit is, mount it on, and then we'll start passing the smaller shelves over it. Manoeuvring until it drops into the hole.
You get that nice clunk sound when it hits the pipe below.
Yeah. So I've lined this stanchion up so it's nice and vertical. Matt's going to nip it up at the connection.
So that's just the very top grub screw in that four-way cross piece. And obviously because you've got the shelf above you need to sort of keep doing it in half movements.
Okay, let's do the other side as well out here.
So these magnetic little spirit levels are brilliant. They can just attach and you can just line things up. So once Matt's made sure that that is nice and vertical, get tightened underneath.
Okay, the next thing we're going to do is fix this left-hand stanchion to the wall. We're just fixing it into some OSB board here, but you're going to have to, you may may have to drill your wall, or you may have to plug it, depending on what situation you've got.
So this is exactly the same as we did over here with these wall brackets. As Gary mentioned, we're going into a different substrate here. We've got boarding on our windows. We're not using the right fitting here. If we were going into a substrate like this on site, so for example plasterboard, we'd be using a plasterboard fixing. But we're just doing this quickly to show you how to assemble it.
Still going, Carly, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Right, the next thing we're going to put on is got 2 more shelves to go on there. Those 2 shelves will locate on this right hand stanchion here, and then there's an extra stanchion going through the middle that was fixed to the wall, so we're just going to pass them down first of all.
Before this shelf goes on, we need to have the little support fitting like this one first. That goes on first. Followed by the board. But obviously the holes at the front of the board. Same again, fitting grub screws pointing towards the centre, followed by board.
Centre stanchion to go on it next.
What was that, Gary?
Centre stanchion to go on it next.
Sorry, those ladders were just creaking a little too much.
And this particular one has got an extra, what we call a short T, to support that shelf in the middle. Go through the fittings. I'm going to put a fitting between all of these shelves, and the pipe's going to pass through shelf fitting, shelf fitting, shelf. That makes sense.
Needs a bit of a wiggle. Got to make sure when you're doing this all the grub screws are loose and out so they're not impeding the path of the pipe. See, this one was tight, so it's not letting the pipe go in properly. Now, loosened off, it's fine. And now Gary's tightening it back up again. Wasn't it? Okay, so there we are. So we just need the top 2 fittings now.
Yeah.
They're there. that will want to move. So step ladders might be slightly better here. They're in our other workshop.
So what we're going to do next is fix this bottom stanchion underneath. I'm going to screw it on the wall. Got any rags or something we can put onto the wood underneath that just to stop brick dust going on there?
Tissue there. That's not ours, Matt.
Blue roll would be good.
Alternatively, you could hold a hoover attachment as the drilling's happening. So Matt just made a mark there.
Maybe a bit more for 50.
So yeah, that first little drill that Matt did was, instead of a pencil mark essentially, just marking it and then dropping down the fitting so we've got room to get the drill in properly. So we're just going to tack this in. But again, if this was a full assembly, it would be all 4 holes, or 2 holes, and with 2 long screws and 2 short screws. We're just going to do the one for now. So it's coming straight back down again. Lovely.
Okay, so the height of this one is 350. We've cut in 2 spaces which we'll be sending with the unit. You've got enough height to do the next one as well, Matt. We do the same with the next one. Same height, same space.
Just keep checking that your arms are going back at right angles so that they're all in line with each other and all at right angles to the pipe. And that's that really. Obviously the top wall flanges need attaching to the wall, but there's no point us doing this at this point. It's just going to make more junk and it's not very informative. So there it is. Your desk and shelving system. Perfect. Thank you. So here it is. We've just popped your boxes underneath in your little cubby, taken away all the shelf spaces, hoovered up the brick dust, and there we are, have it. Beautiful. Thanks again. Bye.